Oh, hello. Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. It's 3/27 of 2012. I think I've killed off all but one of my Trayvon Martin videos. I think the content got dated, and it just also became, I don't know, it didn't seem like it was constructive. I was trying to get some points across and enlighten a few people. Hope that doesn't sound egotistical, but I know it didn't work out that way. I don't. It just didn't seem right. So I've removed them all except I think for one, and I'll probably remove the other one. I wanted to comment on this JetBlue Captain. By the way, if you've ever read my blogs, I have a great deal of sympathy for people who have mental disorders. Got some family members that have some problems. So, having said that, I'm going to say that a JetBlue Captain went crazy, and the co-pilot, I guess, got him out of the cabin, and locked him out. And then he was going up and down the aisles, shouting and screaming, carrying on, and pounding on the door to get back in. And what I'd like to know is that captain one of the flight officers that is authorized to carry a gun on the aircraft? The Republican Party, en masse, the National Rifle Association, and the people who are really pro-gun. I'm not anti-gun, by the way. I carried one for most of my life, every day, had to. But anyway, the Republican Party, the pro-gun people, and the National Rifle Association wanted pilots and flight officers on aircraft after the 9/11 incidents, wanted those people to be able to carry a gun. And it happened. They got permission. Of course, there are certain rules and regulations. Well, the Republicans and the pro-gun people and the National Rifle Association have just been in an absolute tizzy. Oh, they have just been going crazy because they don't like the conditions. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what the conditions are. Something, the pilot and the co-pilot and whoever's armed, they have to keep the gun has to be kept in the cabin. They can't wear it, walk around the aircraft, and they can't wear it around on their hip. It has to be in the cabin. So I'd like to know, this captain, was he one who had been passed, the one that went crazy here on this aircraft? Was he one of the people who's been approved to carry a gun on the aircraft? And maybe they should have let him in. I mean, he was shouting and screaming about, apparently, Afghanistan and Iraq and Al-Qaeda and Israel and all this type of stuff. Maybe he just wanted his gun. It was in the cabin. They should have let him in the cabin to get his gun. He was qualified. If he was qualified to carry a gun, and I mean, his gun was in the cabin. He wanted just to be carrying it around. I guess he should have let him in to get hold of the gun. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. Yeah, a news report has just come in. Let's see. The National Rifle Association is now saying that since this incident happened, that the best thing would be if all passengers are armed. So they're saying anybody who has a concealed weapons permit should be allowed to carry a gun on the aircraft. And the passengers who don't have should be issued firearms as they board the aircraft, and then they can be collected when they exit the aircraft. I made that up. Just trying to make a point. Every time something happens, that's what it's a little bit too. It may jump over not to the Trayvon Martin situation, but on this gun situation. It started out years ago that the National Rifle Association and the pro-gun people and the Republicans wanted people to be able to carry a concealed weapon on them. It wasn't enough that you could be armed at home. You could carry a gun in your car. If you had a business, you could have a gun at your business to protect your business. As you were, that wasn't enough for them. No, they wanted citizens to be able to go out and get a weapon to carry a concealed gun. So they got that pretty much. I think that's about, I'm not sure how many states, but I think most of them. My home state of Missouri, which is kind of surprising, held out for quite a while, and they just kept, the gun lobby just kept coming back. They would get defeated, and finally they came, they just came back long enough that they get it approved. So they got permission for the citizens to go out and get the minimum, get a little bit of training, and make sure you can hit the target. They don't. I've seen them. I don't have a concealed weapons permit. I don't own a gun. But I've, I mean, it's very limited. But what I know from other people is that when you do this concealed weapons thing, the instructor, they tell you, what the rules are about, you just can't shoot somebody, you have to be in fear, whatever. And then I think in just about every case they tell you, now make sure, if you shoot somebody, you tell the police that you were in fear of your life or great bodily harm, be sure and you tell them that. Okay, they got permission, to carry concealed weapons. That didn't satisfy the National Rifle Association and the gun lobby. Then they wanted the Castle Doctrine, or the one in Florida, the Stand Your Ground law, where if you do kill somebody, you're protected. Where before you were supposed to try to avoid it, retreat if you could, type situation. But you could still, if you say I'm in fear of my life, but they wanted it changed, and so they ended up with the Stand Your Ground situation where if there's a confrontation, and I said at the time when Florida passed it that it was going to be, I was not foreseeing the Trayvon Martin situation so much as I was seeing road rage. And I saw after that, yes, that happened. One was a federal agent of some type. It wasn't FBI, and I don't think he was DEA. He wasn't DEA. I forget exactly what he was with, his daughter. And he got into a road rage situation with somebody, and then he pulled in to the bank with his daughter, or the parking lot there, to do something. The old guy that was in a rage pulled in and ended up shooting the guy. And those, because they got into a confrontation, and those been a lot of those. Okay, so they got the Castle Doctrine, and that's what it's called in Texas, and they got the Stand Your Ground law in Florida, and I think they said 26 other states they have that. That's not enough for the National Rifle Association. They want teachers in schools to be armed, and I guess probably anybody who works in the school. And then they were wanting, I think it was in Texas, maybe it was nationwide, they wanted 17-year-old students, I think it was, to be able to be, was it 17 or 18, to be able to be armed and go to school armed. And then another thing, when these concealed weapons laws first, when they passed, it was okay if you have a private business, private property, a shopping mall or a hospital or whatever, and you don't want people bringing a gun into your facility for some reason, you can put a sign up and say, no guns allowed. That's just the people who carry their guns around, and the gun lobby and the Republicans and the NRA, that just enrages them. How dare these businesses, do that? And they've tried to pass, I'm not sure how successful they've been, they're passing laws saying, no, you can't put a sign up that says you can't bring up, if a person is a concealed weapons permit person, he can bring the gun into your facility. It is so crazy here in Texas. They had an incident in Austin, the capital of Texas, I'm not sure if it was the governor's mansion or the state legislature office or whatever. I forget which it is. But they had an incident, so they put scanners and things, and everybody who was going in and out of the building has to have their briefcase checked and whatever, security. But what they've done is they said, well, if a person has a concealed weapons permit, you don't need to go through. In other words, if a person's licensed to carry a gun, you don't need to go through the check. You can bypass it. You can go to this door over here and just show you have a concealed weapons permit, and you're allowed to go in and you're not checked. And of course, and I don't blame them, all the lawyers and people who, especially because they're going in and out all day and things, all of them made sure, well, I'm getting up. Of course, a lot of them already had it, but when I got, so now they can just go through and, I got a gun permit and go in. Does that make any, maybe I'm stupid, does that make any sense? You have people who, those are the people, oops, I have a permit for a gun. Okay, wait a minute, who are you? Where are you going? It just doesn't, that's just crazy. And that's what the situation here is in Texas. So, I don't know. God help us. Thanks for watching.